Dan, you have
Hi.
show and tell.
Yeah, so wonderful and beloved fan sent this to me, this Stranger Things Lego set, and I thought that it was only fair to bring and show it now that I have assembled it, because it's really cool. So this is a Stranger Things Lego set.
And remind me, did it start as a Lego Ideas, or is it like not in that line? Do you remember?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
I will look into it.
I mean, it looks like it has custom pieces, and I think Lego Ideas can't, because it's got the Demogorgon underneath, which
It
seems
does
like
have
it has a custom
it does have the
piece.
Demogorgon head.
Mhm.
Here's the cool thing with it.
Yeah. Oh,
The entire thing is reversible.
yeah.
And of course, there's a back here that you can't see.
I mean, you could turn it around.
So we turn it around.
Okay,
and
yeah.
There's poor little Will Byers
Mhm.
in there.
Spoilers.
Oh! Yeah. So anyway, it was super fun to put together. I initially thought, as I was getting into it, that it would be kind of boring because I'm just building the same house twice. But there's so many different details to it, and all the extra little nasty upside down bits.
Did you like
And it
build?
was a lot of fun.
Did you build it like the two houses and then stick them together, or did you build it like one of them like
No, you build the two houses separately,
okay, and
and then you stick them together, and then you build the trees that act as the stands and hold it up.
it would have been awesome if they would have had you build one and then build the other one in reverse using kind of the same instructions but backward.
I mean, that's more or less what it was.
Yeah.
But it's not upside down.
Yeah.
They're two right side up houses stuck together. So anyway, this was a lot of fun, and thank you. Now I have cool Legos in this very Lego-centric office.
Yeah, I don't have any at mine, but don't send me any. I'm okay. I can get some. But I need to get Emily to build some because she
Yeah.
uses the office 4 days a week, and I'm in the office 1 day a week. So
Yeah, you do have a lot of Legos in the lair,
I do.
but not here.
Yep, those are all my kids, though.
That's
I build
true.
them with my kids. They're not really mine. I have to think about what my perfect Lego set would be. So
Ideal Brandon Lego set.
I was primed for a food heist. I don't know what it is, but you said that you have one.
I do have one, and it's very exciting. I want you to imagine
Yes.
the most blue-collar tequila.
Blue Car tequila. Okay.
This is tequila that was created by the team of Guy Fieri and Sammy Hagar.
Wow. Okay.
Right?
Okay.
It's called Santo Tequila.
Mhm.
They made it. They make some every year.
Okay.
This has been aged 39 months,
Okay.
which I assume is great. I don't drink, so I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And then somebody stole 2 trucks of it.
Okay. You're stealing from Sammy Hagar. I mean,
Right?
And Guy Fieri. I mean, come on.
If you're stealing from Sammy Hagar, I have to assume you at least drove fast enough when you were
Yep.
escaping. What's really exciting to me, so there's 2 trucks. It's combined 440 cases of Santo Tequila, stolen just earlier in November. And Fieri suggests, he says it is possible that someone could be trying to break the momentum that Santo was gaining in the market.
So he thinks it's not a food heist for the food. He thinks it is.
He thinks it's a rival
Espionage.
tequila
Yeah.
thing trying to ruin him, which I don't want to discount out of hand.
I mean, it's Guy Fieri. You got to trust Guy Fieri, right?
If you can't trust Guy Fieri, who can you trust?
Yeah, who can?
But celebrity alcohol is a really big deal these days.
It is.
Ryan Reynolds has his own.
Yep.
Rock Johnson has his own. The
Rock
2
Johnson? Is that
Dwayne the Rock Johnson.
Mhm.
The 2 Breaking Bad dudes. Bryan Cranston and
Aaron Paul.
They
Ryan
have their
Reynolds'
own.
wife.
She has her own alcohol
She has an
separate from
alcohol
his.
separate from his, I believe. the star of it, Blake Lively, begins with us or ends with us. I believe she has one. I mean, it would make sense since they seem to know their way around that sort of thing.
The only problem with this story, because it is so cool, even Guy Fieri suggests how cinematic it is.
Yep.
He says, I've got a quote here, you've got to have double the amount of people to pull off the double heist. The problem with this is that who could you possibly cast? If we assume that Ryan Reynolds is stealing Guy Fieri and Sam Hagar's tequila in order to commit corporate espionage and sabotage, how do you possibly cast that movie?
That's very easy. You cast Guy Fieri and Sammy Hagar in that movie.
And Ryan Reynolds?
And Ryan Reynolds, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you know, and Dave Bautista as the car.
I don't know which of their various alcohols is a tequila, if any of them.
Yeah.
And so I don't know who is in direct competition with Santo Tequila.
Yep.
But I love the whole idea of this. Everything about it fills me with joy.
These tequila tricksters, you got to watch out for them. They take your tequila and then they rebrand it as their own tequila. It's kind of like Mr. Krabs, right? Who's got his thing, and you want to steal the Krusty Krab recipe because your own burgers are terrible. Well, obviously they're repackaging it, trying to steal their thunder. I think Guy Fieri is correct. Definitely. I think this is something he would know a lot about.
I have to assume.
Turns out, by the way, there are a ton of celebrity tequila brands.
Yeah.
Okay. Did I get any of them right?
Yes, quite a few. Bryan Cranston's on there. You can easily get a twist villain with George Clooney or Kendall Jenner and a couple other ones.
Are those all tequilas or?
Yep, celebrity tequila brands.
Tequila specifically. George Clooney
has a tequila.
Mark Wahlberg's on there too.
Who was the first one that did this?
Ooh, that's a good
question. Was it because I feel like Ryan Reynolds has kind of been at the forefront of making companies and branding for yourself, because once upon a time you hired a celebrity to shill your brand, right? And then instead the celebrity's like, why don't I just buy the company and shill my own brand? And this is now a pretty big trend.
It is. And I'm going to go ahead and say, like I said, I don't drink, and so I don't know what makes a tequila good. But I'm going to assume out of all of those people making their own, I'm going to trust Guy Fieri's.
Yeah.
Like,
no
joke.
You make me drink one. I would pick Guy Fieri.
He's an actual chef and a very good chef. And so, I'm going to trust his food creation more so than George Clooney.
Yeah. It's interesting because they also do coffee brands quite often. And they do book clubs. Reese Witherspoon did a book club.
That's fun.
So it's a very interesting trend. And, you know, I've thought, what could I do? And I'm like, well, I could do tap water because that's what I drink. It really is just tap water.
I want to see Brandon Sanderson branded popcorn.
Popcorn? Yeah. Brandon Sanderson popcorn.
Right? See, the whole room echoes with agreement.
I do like my popcorn. Like my popcorn.
Different flavors.
But I just eat the regular popcorn. I like the white popcorn with lightly salted but heavily oiled.
Yeah. See? That's the kind of thing that your fans want to hear. Now,
they want to hear about my popcorn. I think they want to hear about my books, but maybe they want to hear. We should get some for Nexus sometime. Be like this, because my favorite popcorn's from Nebraska. We get it shipped in. We should have it there.
Okay, that's a good idea.
Brandon popcorn would work. What would be the Dan thing?
What would be the Dan food?
Your celebrity thing that you'd be like, I've always wanted to sell this, so I'm going to start a company to do it.
Artisanal ding-dongs. No, it wouldn't be ding-dongs. The first thing that came to mind is a chili relleno, because that's my favorite food. But you're not going to buy the Dan Wells chili relleno, like, repackaged in a freezer or something.
Artisan Ding Dongs is, I'm sorry, Dan. I can't let it go.
Handmade artisanal ding dongs
Handmade?
from the original ding dong region of France.
Oh, yes. I know that. It's very near to that juice box region of Germany, where they in the monks in the 1200s started making juice boxes for the first time.
Yeah.
I'm well aware of that.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
There's a whole, they call it the fast food belt of ancient Europe.
Wait, that's not fast food, Dad.
The junk food.
Junk food.
Junk
there you
food
go.
belt. There we go.
Lunchbox when you were 8 years old belt.
See, people don't realize that charcuterie boards are actually based on the original Italian Lunchables.
Do you actually eat ding dongs?
I do. I don't eat them often because I'm trying to eat very little sugar in my diet.
Yeah.
But when it is time to sugar up, a ding dong is where I
you
turn.
Choose.
Yeah.
I'm a little surprised by that, but yeah. What's our actual topic today, Donald?
Well, we have quite the lively audience, and a lot of you, and we are very grateful for it, comment about the podcast episodes that we do.
And I have for years wanted to respond better to the comments, but the podcast comes out right during my writing time. It's a very difficult time to pop on and be interacting with people. So we had Donald grab us some comments from recent podcasts, and we're just gonna talk about them. We're gonna comment on your comments.
We will respond asynchronously.
Yes.
That we are. So we're going to start with our most recent one that had just come out, which we had talked about source material divergence problems.
Yeah.
Yes.
Brandon rants.
And one of the first ones that caught my attention was something that Dan had brought up, which is how does someone break into the film industry with all the technology we have? I am biased in this, but Fabulist had said that they think the movie version of self-publishing has already started with Unreal 5. The thing is so good already that I'm sure someone could recreate Lord of the Rings or Star Wars or anything else pretty faithfully. Going back to the previous podcast where Brandon was annoyed by John Carter of Mars not being a good adaptation, someone could just make Edgar Rice Burroughs A Princess of Mars and absolutely be faithful to the book.
Yeah, I think Edgar Rice Burroughs is in the public domain now, or it's very close.
Correct. The book is in the public domain, as they had said.
Yeah.
And Unreal could definitely be up to the task for it.
What do you think, Donald? Your dad worked on
Unreal Engine.
Yeah, I'm biased in this comment. I would agree, and we're already.
You think they could do Star Wars? You think they could make the things look like the minis on strings moving through space?
Yes, because we have Unreal Engine 5 stop motion like animation.
Really?
Because we can see this. YouTube, again, is, in my opinion, the best source for this kind of stuff, because we have 17-year-old kids who can create full environments within the Unreal Engine, shoot a 20-minute short film, and you're good to go. You can, with the Unreal, do it lots and lots. So
Yeah. I mean, this commenter isn't wrong, right? Like, we are really close to, if not at the era, where indie filmmaking will move to direct to consumer, right? With YouTube and stuff. The thing is, I haven't seen a lot of these that can match. Maybe in animation, definitely I can see animation
has a ton of advantage there.
Has a lot of indie animation, but for live action, even with the effects being done, it takes so many people on set to make one of these things. The reason the budgets are so high is partially because of some of this animation stuff, but it's partially just because you need to pay hundreds of people, and that's expensive, and it gets really expensive really fast. And even doing that on a budget, even with cheaper filmmaking equipment now that's just as good, even with the special effects, I feel like just really hard to do, really hard to break in, because you need millions.
Yeah, it's a good point. My only or counter argument to this is we have Paranormal Activity. We have horror, which has proven you can, on a shoestring budget, make incredible stories.
Right, and there's Godzilla -1 and things like this. Yeah, I mean, there is that argument, but I don't know if we're there yet.
Yeah.
Because those are the exceptions, not the rule.
Right.
And even some of the people on YouTube I follow that are really good, like Corridor, does really amazing stuff, but they can really only manage like a minute and a half or 2 minutes. And even that is pushing it for what you can actually make money on YouTube because of how expensive it is to film on set.
Yeah.
Yep.
Alas. That's too bad because I know that there's a bunch of really gifted filmmakers out there that just don't have budgets, and we're not seeing their stories.
And like I said, I agree with this person. We're probably really close to at least some breakthroughs. I just worry you need actors, you need makeup, you need all of these things that just makes the budgets go high because you want all these people to earn a living on what they're doing.
To their point, if we're using Unreal Engine, I guess that doesn't preclude actual actors, does it?
No, it doesn't.
Do it Mandalorian style.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is where it's interesting. Unreal has recently, if I remember correctly, their NPC AI that's come out that is like 95% accurate to being able to face map most of this stuff. So
yeah, but isn't that like shouldn't we be more scared of that than excited by it? Right?
Yes,
level
definitely.
of that.
Yeah. Yeah. What's the next comment?
Well, this one's for Dan, and I'm more curious than anything. Chad2840 said, "Wait, is Dan a Struts fan?"
Of course. Who's not a Struts fan?
For those who don't know, myself, what is Struts?
Yeah,
The Struts are a rock band.
Oh, okay.
And they're really great, and everyone should listen to them. They actually have a new one that is making the rounds right now called I Can't Stop Talking that is fantastic.
Oh, you have good taste in music, by my experience. One of the few
few things I have good taste
you have good taste in, so I'll give it a try. Yeah.
Yeah, the Struts are good.
There you go. On the topic of Lego, we had quite a bit of people jump in when we were talking about Lego last time, talking about what their sets would be for Stormlight. Specifically, I saw Earthu and a couple Krennic Shaws. I open this to you two. Do you guys have a dream Lego set? It doesn't have to be Stormlight specific, but like if you could make a Lego set or get a Lego set, what would that be?
Wow. Just if you could
just
snap
of
your
anything,
fingers.
not even Cosmere.
Just be like,
just snap
I
your
want
fingers.
this version of something Legolized.
Boy.
Yeah. I know. I'd want something like weird, right? Like that they would never do. The Lego version of the set of Stanley Kubrick filming the moon landing.
Oh, that's great. I like that idea. I am thinking, my mind immediately went toward farce. And, you know, the part in so many screwball comedy farces where suddenly people are going in and out of doors, opening and closing. I'm thinking of Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum with its 3-building set, or the great
That's a
bit
cool one.
in What's Up, Doc?
Yep.
Where they're all in the hallway with the hotel rooms and you never know who's in which one. I think that sort of thing could be a lot of fun to put together.
That's a great idea.
That's awesome.
Really sharp idea. Yeah.
Very nice.
So hire us, Lego. We have good ideas. Yeah.
That's exactly right. Well, moving on to the Fall Guy episode that we had done.
Yes.
One of the commenters, Aaron Jonker, had said, I have an idea for a future episode. Which are your favorite narrative songs? For example, The River from Bruce Springsteen, Paradise by the Dashboard Light from Meatloaf,
Yep.
or Red Right Hand from Nick Cave. Kind of those kind of songs.
Oh boy, this is one that would be a little hard to do off the cuff. Like I do love like Meatloaf. Basically, everything from Bat Out of Hell 1 and 2 could kind of fit in this a little bit. And I love both of those albums.
So a song that tells a story is what we're specifically talking about,
like
right?
Pinball Wizard,
Pinball
maybe.
Wizard is where my mind immediately went.
Yeah.
Huge fan of Nick Cave, and Red Right Hand is a good choice.
Yeah.
The Violent Femmes, big long one about the guy who pushes his family down a well. I love that.
What about that
one.
Rush song about the robot? That's a pretty good one too. You know which one I'm talking about?
Mr. Roboto?
No, not Mr. Roboto. I think it's Rush. It's like the robot in a post-apocalyptic wasteland who's, yeah. You guys know what I'm talking
Ben
about.
is screaming at us right now.
What's that? Ben. Yeah, Ben
because
is.
Ben knows
is
exactly which
Mr.
song you're talking
I'm
about.
pretty sure it's Rush.
I think it's the Body Electric.
Yes, it is. The Body Electric.
Okay.
I know this because Ben would play Rush a lot, and that was one of my favorite songs. It's like a story about a robot in the future. So
Okay.
it's really cool.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Does Big Iron count from Marty Robbins?
I don't know it.
Well, comments. You'll have to defend me for that one.
Mm.
Going back, Dan, we have to blame you a little bit for this one. From Eduardo SADCV. A few years back, I did not care for food heists at all. But now, after some time without a food heist news delivered by Dan, I immediately felt joy. Congrats, Dan. You've successfully Pavloved me.
Woo!
There you go. The Tequila Tricksters. We had one today. So
Tequila Tricksters or the Tequila Monsters?
okay, yours is better. Tequila Monsters. And my inferior pun is struck from the record.
Okay.
And yours is put up as a great billboard board.
That's a rare win for me when it comes to puns.
Well, you're very good at puns, but you're usually reading the story, right? And so you don't have
true.
time to consider and think about how fun it would be to riff on the name, which is why I usually end up making the puns. I would guess you're better at puns in the long run than I am.
Oh, well.
I mean, you've written actual
Make
comedy.
Me cry.
You know, Dan, I am curious. How many
Yes.
of these food heists have stuck with you? Like, are there many that you can remember from all these many years of food heists?
I mean, we did the whole food heist bracket.
We don't
And
still have
so-
T-shirts.
No, the T-shirts will appear at some point.
Yes.
But remember last year when we still didn't have them?
Yeah.
It's been a year and we still don't have them.
Yep. This is the problem with the real problem here is we can't put this much on the art team.
Yeah.
We grew as a company, and Isaac's team just has enough to do that I haven't felt right.
Well, Isaac's team and Kara's team, because this goes into products as well.
Right, but
they're working on real stuff.
yeah,
And
we'll
it's
get 'em
hard for us
eventually,
to pull them off
but-
onto this project. But
yeah. Maybe we ought to have Adam run a contest for us and have the listeners
some
create them.
fan-created
Yeah.
T-shirts.
We did that once for the Wax and Wayne T-shirts. They turned out really well.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, Michael Jensen, Q6C, asked and said, I actually want to watch them talk about Hamlet and Shakespeare.
Oh.
So bad.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
Here's my hot take. Hamlet's great.
Is that a hot?
How dare you say something so controversial
Yeah, I know.
and
I
yet
know.
so brave?
I like King Lear better.
King Lear is, for my money, the best of the tragedies.
Yeah. Best of the comedies?
Best of the comedies.
Much Ado?
Yes.
It's Much Ado.
I love Much Ado About Nothing,
Uh-huh.
but
It's got an actual narrative.
very specifically, there was a circus troupe
Uh-huh.
that did Merchant of Venice,
Okay.
and it was all jugglers, and they were
Interesting.
juggling throughout the whole thing. And I saw that when I was a kid, and it has stuck with me ever since. And that's kind of been my de facto favorite of the comedies because of that specific performance of it. It was the Flying
Yeah.
Karamazov brothers. That's who did this.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, I can understand why that would make such an effect. I saw an adaptation of Midsummer Night's Dream that was done by a troupe that was vibing off of like In Living Color.
Oh,
They had fly dancers in between scenes, and everyone was dressed like they were on In Living Color and things like that, kind of, early 90s streetwear type stuff and things. It was really good.
super bright colors.
Super bright colors.
and what show was that?
Midsummer Night's Dream.
Midsummer Night's
Yeah,
Dream.
It matched
that
really
would
well.
work well
Yeah.
for that.
But at the end of the day, I still just have to pick Much Ado because the actual, it's the only one I've watched or I've seen, I've read, whatever, where the relationship, I'm like, I want these two people to get together, right? That's not what these are actually about. Like, you just have to assume that the play doesn't have time to establish an actual relationship.
Yeah.
But in that one, I'm like, there's an actual relationship. I mean, there's two, but so
Have you seen the black and white one?
I have. Yeah.
I love that one.
Yeah.
I think that is probably my favorite.
You like that better
film
than the
version.
Brana?
Maybe. It's a tough call, but I am a big Amy Acker fan is the problem, and so I kind of default towards that black and white.
Hamlet. Hamlet is cool. I mean, why is Hamlet considered the best Shakespeare in general, do you think, Dan? Is it that Lion King structure, or that structure of revenge that works so well that you get movie after movie and story after story? Like I think we've talked about, like Dune is Hamlet, Lion King is obviously Hamlet. This idea of going for vengeance, but Hamlet doesn't even really do that. He shows up, he wanders around, he whines, and then people die. Right?
Yeah. And that's one of the interesting things in a lot of the responses to Hamlet. People who are making like Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead.
Yeah.
They're really playing into the fact that Hamlet is kind of a weak and inactive character.
Yeah.
And that's what makes those responses interesting. But the remakes and the retellings themselves make Hamlet into a much more active character.
Right. So
I don't know.
Is it the prose? Is it the soliloquies? It's got to be the soliloquies that are a big part of it, right?
Probably. I think it's very approachable.
Yeah.
Like, it's a very simple story that is still complicated enough to be fun. It has a ghost in it. It's got the story within a story going on. Hamlet himself, whether he is active or inactive, is a very strong character in that you know who he is and what he wants. He doesn't often chase after what he wants.
That whole playing stupid or playing crazy thing or whatnot that's going on is works so well. And I mean,
and you compare that to King Lear, that is a much more intricate and complicated story, or Macbeth, which is a very grungy kind of film noir almost story going on. And I think Hamlet just might be the most accessible one, and that's why it's the most famous one.
And if anyone makes fun of us for our puns, you have not read Shakespeare, the greatest writer in the English language. Every other sentence, I'm not even kidding, is a pun.
It's all
in Shakespeare.
over the place.
Yeah.
Getting back to Merchant of Venice.
Yeah.
The whole speech where he is talking about one of the characters talks about his girlfriend as if she were a globe and where all the different countries are on her.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Well, the fishmonger lines from Hamlet, right? Which are, again, it is kind of sad that in some cases you need an actual class to learn what the puns are because language has shifted so much. But good old Shakespeare inventing so many words and so many terms that we now find indispensable. Sometime look up a list of words and terms that originate from Shakespeare, and you'll be amazed.
Yeah.
So there you are. Short discussion of Shakespeare and Hamlet. Turns out he's a good writer. Or the collection of 80 people who secretly wrote him are.
Take that, William Shakespeare.
I'm inclined to ask, what, in your two's opinion, is the best Hamlet adaptation?
Best Hamlet adaptation?
Yeah, is it just The Lion King, or?
I don't think I can count like the sideways adaptations like The Lion King.
Okay.
I mean, all Shakespeare is best in person.
Yeah.
Right? What? Mel Gibson, Zeffirelli, list me the other Hamlets.
There's a lot.
Yeah, there's a ton.
Peter O'Toole did a Hamlet.
Oh, Peter O'Toole. Oh, I saw him in that one in my Shakespeare class. I like that one a lot.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Yeah. I'll go with that one for now, but I would have to have a whole list in front of me and see how many of them I've actually seen. They showed Zeffirelli wasn't Hamlet. Zeffirelli was Romeo and Juliet.
Didn't he also do a Hamlet?
He did a Hamlet, didn't he? Yes, he did. Okay,
probably.
He did. I was thinking of the Romeo and Juliet because they showed it in my class in high school.
Yeah,
and
everyone had a special moment growing up when they got to see Zeffirelli's Romeo and
Juliet. They did that
the
in
first
Utah?
time. Oh, yeah.
I've heard like from my wife, she's like,
Seventh
no,
grade.
never would do that. And I'm in Nebraska. They're just like, yeah, whatever.
Oh, yeah. I do have a soft spot for Mel Gibson's Hamlet,
Yeah.
just because it's the only Hamlet I've ever seen where he says, "Now could I drink hot blood?" and you believe him. Because he's a very beefy Hamlet. He is an angry Hamlet.
I did watch that one as well, and I would agree. It's a good, I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
I don't know if there's a definitive for me Hamlet like there is a definitive Henry V and Much Ado, both of which are by the same guy.
That's true. There is a definitive one of those.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't ever really gotten. I mean, the only definitive King Lear is Ron.
Yeah. Yeah, and I would count Ron kind of,
Yeah.
right? Well, maybe it's not using the actual language, and so I don't know if I can count. It's that one shade. I mean, Ron is fantastic, but it's not Lear. If you're not saying the Shakespeare lines, I think it has to be in its own category of things like The Lion King.
Of remake or retelling.
I'm gonna back off on that. There's a really fine adaptation of Twelfth Night that came out in the early 2000s that I really enjoyed.
Is it called She's the Man?
No,
Isn't that a 12th Night
I
retelling?
think that is, yes.
Yeah. It's a better movie than it gets credit for.
All right, give us one more.
One more. Well, we're gonna go to the best non-animated Disney films episode that we had done.
Okay.
We missed quite a few. The one that I'm most curious about is
We did an episode about best non-animated Disney movies.
Yes, because you guys did.
There's no way we could cover all of them.
No, there are a lot. And there were quite a few that we had missed.
Okay.
One of the ones that I'm curious to hear your thoughts on is Treasure Planet.
No, best
Treasure Planet is animated.
non-Disney animated.
Yes, sorry.
You said
Oh.
non-animated Disneys
Okay.
twice or three times. So yes.
So it's non-Disney animated.
Yes, you
Yes.
remember that episode.
I do
okay,
remember
I was
that
like,
episode.
did we talk about Blackbeard's ghost and things? I was trying to. Treasure Planet. Treasure Planet is
okay.
Treasure Planet is slightly better than okay.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't love it, but I don't dislike it. by
I
any
really
means.
respect the imagination, and this actually fits with what we were talking about before. The kind of adaptation of taking something and turning it into a sci-fi instead. Long John Silver was so cool in that.
Oh, yeah.
But it just didn't quite work. It's the same as Titan E. Both of them came out around the same time. Both of them were, I would say,
I think
better
Treasure
than okay.
Planet is better than Titan
Do ya?
AE.
Oh, for sure.
I would say.
Yeah. Titan E just has a better trailer, like I said.
But Muppet Treasure Island is better than both of them.
It is. You are correct. And so, yeah, I mean, fantastic animation.
Mhm.
Didn't quite click for me, either one of those.
Mm-hmm.
I would still call them good. I just would not elevate them into that echelon of 8, 9, 10 out of 10 sort of great films.
Were there other ones that people threw out in the comments? And
Yeah.
were like, why didn't they talk about my favorite thing?
Yeah, let me pull them up. Brandy Tate 6249. Thank you, by the way, for that. Keegan Bate 8935. Words. Wanted
Those
to know
are
about the
numbers,
Great Mouse
Donald.
Detective.
Great Mouse Detective is Disney.
It is.
Yeah.
I have been lied to.
But it's also extremely lesser Disney.
Yep.
And so
It's in the dark era, right? The dark era.
the Tim Burton holding a seance era of Disney animation.
Right before Little Mermaid, after
Yeah.
the golden age. I mean, it's not that there's, Rescuers Down Under is in that era, and it's decent.
Rescuers Down Under
Yeah.
is fantastic.
You'd call it fantastic, would you?
Fantastic.
Okay. Definitely better than the Rescuers.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
yeah. So there's some stuff in there that's good, but Great Mouse Detective, even though it is Disney, I would just be like, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, it's there. It's a movie.
That's fair. Well, the big two that I'll end off on, seeing as how they have been compared many times, is Despicable Me and Megamind.
I find the Despicable Me movies very tiresome.
See, but you have to, if you jettison your feeling from how the series has had a lot, and I like them all, I'm going to go with Despicable Me, the first film, is one of those near perfect, if not perfect films.
It's
The structure,
You're right.
the characterization, the transformation, and all of these things are really, really well done. It's just a great screenplay.
Mm-hmm.
Megamind is pretty good. I find the animation, the character designs in some of Megamind uncanny valley-ish. It was before the CG really got where it is, like the female character and
Tina
Megamind.
Fey's character looks very weird.
When he's a human, they both uncanny valley me. But I love the performances. And I think it's an excellent film. Like these would both be in that kind of 8, 9, 10. I'd have to sit down and decide where they are, but I consider them both top tier. I just wish Megamind, it's like, early Toy Story and some of these things where the animation hadn't quite gotten there yet. Even Shrek 1. If you watch Shrek 1 again, at least the character designs don't feel uncanny valley, but the animation, you can tell.
You can tell is early CG.
Mm-hmm.
I will say Megamind does have one of my favorite visual jokes of all time.
Yeah.
Which is at the end of the movie when you realize Titan has been spelling his name as a verb conjugation.
Yeah.
The entire movie. That was so brilliant and so out of nowhere, and I loved it.
There's a lot of those in Megamind. Text jokes, word jokes. It's a very good film. So, but the tightness of how tight Despicable Me is sometimes just every time I see it, because my kids really like it, I'm impressed by how tight that film is. So
fair enough. And thank you again, Anthem Part 3 edits and Michael De La Cruz.
By the way, Despicable Me 2 also really good. It's 3 and 4 where they have so many plot lines that they have trouble. So
yeah. Well, I didn't say that they're bad. I said that I'm tired of them.
All right. We're not tired of you, Ben.